Alright, so our astronaut rescue ship. What is going on with this? This is like stuck in. Oh, there we go. I get the controls of this backwards from like I could move side to side, but maybe not. With programs like Blender and stuff. Okay, I'm gonna move this nice and high so we have plenty of room to work with. We're not going to do any math on what it actually takes. We're just going to use huge amounts of propulsion to get this thing into space. I don't mess with things like math. NASA can do that. Stack separator. That's what we want. So we've got this stack separator that will blow this stage off once we get it into space. Okay, so then we need an adapter to go to larger rocket sizes, and this actually holds fuel, so that's handy. And then they kind of changed this up. I haven't actually played this game since they released the official version. And so some of the parts I'm used to are different now. So we want the Rocket Max Jumbo tank. Yeah, like this used to be this rusty orange looking tank, and now it kind of looks somewhat professional, like a real rocket. We're going to throw a huge engine on this thing. So this will not get us into space. What I do is asparagus staging. So I put engines around the outside, and those blow off as you're going up as soon as they're empty. But this engine is also going, but it's also sucking fuel from the outside rockets. So what happens is when all your other rockets blow off, you still have this completely full of fuel. It hasn't used anything up yet. And I think that should be enough fuel because our top half isn't super heavy. Like I've sent other things into space that were a lot heavier than this with kind of the same, the same setup. So this should be copious amounts of fuel. And then mount these radial decouplers high, and let's go with do we need 8 stages or 8 rockets? I mean, what the heck, why not? When in doubt, use more fuel. This is why I'm a computer programmer, not an astronaut. I can just be lazy and throw more resources at the problem. NASA doesn't get that luxury.
Can't stay in budget.
Yeah. Well, and like if they run out of fuel, it's kind of a big deal. Now, you used to be able to just send these up like this. I kind of think now the game is a little bit more picky about aerodynamics.
Oh, so you have to put cones on them?
Yeah, we'll see. If it blows up, then we'll know that yes, we should have put cones on. Again, blowing stuff up is more fun than doing the math and doing it right. So there's all our stages. So these are all this is all gonna burn at once. But we have to separate these in a specific order, and this is kind of the tricky part that's like a little bit finicky to build, because we'll have to use fuel hoses and they have to be put on in exactly the right order. So we can kind of pick any arbitrary one to start. So like let's pick, this one, and you have to turn on. So we want this tank to feed the main tank, and so you have to click it in the order of the direction you want to go. So if you like zoom in here, you'll see that arrow points that way.
Gotcha.
That means this fuel tank is filling that one, but it cannot pull. And we'll do the same thing on this side. So, and as far as I know, these things, last I know, didn't have any real mass and didn't have any aerodynamic considerations, so you don't have to worry about if they're like real perfect. And because in theory, like if you didn't have those just right, it would throw your weight off and you'd get all kinds of wobble going off. But we're gonna just hope that is
It's not part of the
not
program.
not a problem. And then, so basically we
Then
do...
you'll do the 90 degrees from that, right?
Yeah, well, the way it works, these all just connect to each other.
Oh, okay.
So they all feed outside in. So the one on the end will run out of fuel first, and you drop them off in reverse order of how these hoses feed. If that makes sense. So
that one drops first.
this tank and the opposite side will drop off first because they're going to burn through their fuel really fast. So you lose that thrust as they drop off, but you also lose all that weight. And so this part isn't super tricky, figuring out how to do these hoses. The tricky part is getting all of your staging set up correctly so you blow the right stuff off at the right time. And then actually doing it as you go up and managing your whole launch is fun. And I haven't played this in so long, I don't even remember what keys do what, so hopefully there's some muscle memory in there because I've played this a lot, but otherwise we're going to have some rocky launches. Okay. So we've got our hoses feeding. So see if we view this from the top. I won't let me center it more than that. But they feed, in opposite directions. So as you blow these off, you should stay balanced in theory across. So now we have to make sure that our couplers are staged exactly the same as our hoses. So first of all of these thrusters should be in the same group because they all burn together. And this is the last coupler to blow once we've totally gotten into space. So these are the couplers we need to space out correctly into 4 total groups. So we'll add 3 groups here. And then we want these, the ones attached to these rockets, are the first ones that need to go. So this is kind of a pain in the butt because you want that one, and we don't want that one, or that one, or that one. We do want that one. We don't want this one, or this one. So make sure those are selected and then drag them into the first stage. So those will be the first 2 to blow. And then we do the same thing for, we do want that one, don't want that one, don't want that one, do want that one, want that one. I always like triple check this when I'm done because if you get it wrong, it really goes awry. Do you want that? Don't want that one. See, these are. That's not right. Oh yeah, we do want that one. Okay, I think I got that right. So we'll check. So we got these 2, then those 2, then those 2. Final 2. So that should be staged correctly. So our first stage will be lighting all this up. Now that we've got our rocket sized correctly, and this could get real wiggly here. We'll see when we launch. We may need to add some supports. So in theory, this is our rocket, and the last thing that we need is some ground supports for launch. So, I just want 2, but I don't think it's going to let me do that. So,
do you have to pull the others off then?
These will all bounce together, so they will turn our we'll turn our rockets on. Okay, so they're thrusting, and then we'll blow this just after we get our rockets to where they have full thrust. That way, if you do these at the same time, if your rockets aren't fully full throttle yet, the rocket goes and then takes off. So we want it to have it like, yeah, we want it to be pushing against those just a little bit. If it pushes too much, then it gets all wonky and blows up. So it's a little touch and go. I screw up launches a lot. Alright, so we're not going to use any struts. We'll probably need them. This may blow up, but if we do struts, we're probably going to have to put some kind of infrastructure sticking out here to hook the struts to, and I don't really want to deal with that if we don't have to. So I'm going to save this rocket, then we'll leave this and we'll go eject our astronaut. I'm going to save the game first. So I already have a space station that is got 3 astronauts in it orbiting. So I'm going to just basically kick an astronaut out the airlock, and then I'm going to use his monopropellant to get him on a little bit different orbit. It's going to be Jebediah. It's always Jebediah. Poor guy. So we'll do a spacewalk with him, an EVA, but it will not be one he is returning to this station from. So we're going to just call this Rescue Jeb. Okay, so here we go, Jeb. Lego.
Bye bye, bud.
Now, I can't remember how to turn on his jetpack, of course, which is unfortunate. Let's see, I'm gonna have to look up the controls real quick.
This is an insanely intricate and extensive program.
Yeah, let me pop the Kerbal controls real quick. EVA controls. Press U will target all spacesuit's lights. Okay. WSAD, but that's if pressing R activates their jetpack. Okay, so that's what we need to know. Okay. Okay, cool. So we don't want that on until we kind of look at our orbit trajectory, because we want to separate ourselves enough from this thing,
Yeah,
so that we're not crashing into that. Yeah. So it's so lonely out here. Oh, okay. Off we go. Oh boy, that's way faster than when you have 0 mass. Okay, let's see what our orbital trajectory is not much different. I've never tried a controlled burn with an astronaut, so let's try that. Add maneuver. Oh, control locked. Okay, well apparently you can't do that, or I've never really tried. That's funny. Okay, well we're a little separated. I wouldn't mind being more. Let's just face be like this, I think. That's going to take us on a little bit different path, so I mean, we're separating in a hurry. You can see that ticking up really fast. So we're in a different enough, we can make it a little bit more extreme here. So that's not the way we want the opposite. So I'm aligning the nav ball with this blue thing basically, and just firing jets a little bit, which will make our orbit more elliptical, a little bit more elliptical. So,
Okay.
and if we really want to make this, you know, really separate him, we could do that significantly more. How much monopropellant do we have? We have quite a bit. Let's just burn some of that up and get him.
As long as you
So
have
this-
enough,
yeah.
it's just a maneuver when you get close.
The scenario here is my buddy who is in the situation that I was trying to see, like how complicated it would be to stage a rescue mission. His little astronaut is completely out of propellant. So we're not in that situation, but okay. And then I'm gonna
So
you can
he's trying
see,
to save his.
yeah. So you can see here, we have shifted because the way that we fired our thrusters, we've shifted our whole orbit like offset from the other one. I'm gonna actually just do a maneuver right here. If I burn, I think it's called prograde here, it'll actually increase this periapsis away, and so our whole orbit will be outside of the space station orbit.
Okay.
So normally with an actual ship, I'd add a maneuver, but here we'll just time warp there, and our separation should increase. And then here, if I just now return to this and burn prograde, which is this direction. Or is that retro? I think I need to burn this one. Let's see if this is slowing us down. I think that's the opposite. Yeah, that's opposite of what I want to do. I was right. So we want to go this way. Burning that monopropellant. All right. This is going to keep our orbit from getting too close to the Earth, because we definitely don't want that. That'll make our mission way more complicated. So you can see as I burn, it's not really a burn since this is monopropellant, but see how that periapsis is increasing? We're actually increasing our orbit size a little bit.
Okay.
Need to remaneuver this guy. As we circle the planet, our prograde orientation changes a little bit. So I'll just give this some burn. We still have tons of monopropellant. We could probably redock with the space station just with our monopropellant if we couldn't save him with another mission. But I want to try to get it to where we save him without. Oh yeah, there we go. So this is going to be a little bit trickier of an orbit to match, because this is not. It is not a clean orbit now. We have this wonky thing, but at least it is fairly equatorial, you know.
Sure.
And then what we'll try to do, if we can do this, you know, if we can actually rescue him, we'll try to crash this down in the water just outside the space station, and that would be best case. So he's for a close rescue. In the previous version of the game, I don't think it had this icon here, so I'd just try to guess, and I end up crashing into all different sorts of places. So. Okay, so now we have our problem staged. Now it's time to return to our tracking station and prepare our mission. So we are right here. So we're gonna, when we get our rocket stage, we're gonna have to time warp a little bit to get, you basically, the closer you can get off the launch, the less time you have to mess around with trying to match up your orbital velocities and catch up or slow down. So let's give this a shot. So let's load that thing we built. So this will be unmanned to begin with, and hopefully manned at some point. Okay, so we got our ship. Looks like all of our stages are still correct. Sometimes in the past this game would mess them up when you reloaded, so I always double check. And then our final thing, we'll fly on that one. Oh, this is cool. This now tells you, I assume that is the maximum amount the engine can accelerate this to, given the weight or something. I don't know. That's a new thing, so that's kind of cool. You can look at all these things like the delta V and all this stuff, and it can tell you things if you're sciencey and such. But I prefer the throw fuel at the problem and go approach.
I have to think a whole lot less that way.
Yeah.
So what's this up here? Is that the frames per second?
Yeah, and that doesn't show in the video. I just have that going. I have this at 1920 by 1080 just so it's easier to look at other windows and stuff, right. But I'm pretty sure that my GPU could handle this easily.
So what's the other?
OBS. So this is what streamers use to stream, and I've used it some for streaming, but right now I'm not live streaming. I'm just using it to record. It's nice because you can composite multiple views together. So if you had I have picture-in-picture with the webcam and the game, you can choose multiple audio sources, and it blends all that into one stream. You can actually set up scenes, so if you're a streamer and you have a waiting you know, logo and stuff. You can set that up while your stream's waiting to launch, and I've never done anything quite that sophisticated. Hey, it's Valentina. Sweet. I didn't even like pick a specific pilot, but Valentina and Jeb are my go-tos. Okay, so we want to, why isn't this, there we go. We want to basically wait until he is somewhere in this area. If he's like right here, then by the time we get our rocket up that far, they'll be somewhat close. And the way it works is if you're behind and you want to catch up, you need a smaller orbit. You can't speed up, because when you speed up, you're changing your orbit.
Yeah.
So if you want to catch up to something that's already orbiting, you basically reduce the size of your orbit, which makes you spin faster around the Earth, and you wait, which is nice because this has time warping, until you're close, and then you extend your orbit back to where it was. So that's, and once you get pretty close, like once I get within, you know, a few kilometers, then you can kind of, I just eyeball it in. I'm sure NASA does not do that. But I just, like, that's why I go to space with a lot of fuel, is I just like slowly, I like thrust towards the target, and then I turn around and slow down and just kind of do that little dance and drift in carefully. So I waste, I'm sure, tons of fuel, but it has been pretty effective. So we want to, let's see if the keys are still the same for time warping. Apparently not. Well, that sucks. Let me see. I really haven't played this game much for probably a couple of years. And they've changed quite a bit of stuff. So let's see. Time warp. Okay, dot and comma, that's what I'm using. And then slash a stop time warp. So maybe you used to be able to time warp your launch, but maybe I can't. Huh. Well, I guess we figured out in the air. So what could go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong?
So we want our, I don't want RCS on, we want, this is our stabilization, which helps our rocket stay somewhat stable. We have no fins or anything on this. We're using, every one of these has thrust vectoring, and the main one does. And then I have reaction wheels. There's a reaction wheel up here. Normally I put one at the bottom, but I was trying to keep weight down, and too many reaction wheels can work against each other and create like this resonance where everything goes and then blows up. So we're gonna try it like this. So we want to turn up our throttle, and we're gonna speed this up, and out we go. As soon as, so we're watching our fuel burn and see how those two are running out faster. If we've done this right, we'll blow those first as soon as they run out. Down they go, look out below. I'm pretty sure nobody in real life drops stuff this close. I try to keep the nav ball oriented as close as I can. We're going to lay over in this direction once we start our kind of gravity turn. We're gaining altitude super fast, so I can't say yeah, way too much fuel. Let's see, we should have pulled a lot of thrust, so this is done. I had way too much airspeed is what causes that to control your rocket. So really when you start doing your gravity turn, yeah, and that's what, if you were doing this with any kind of like real science or intelligence, you would kind of figure that out. Like I shouldn't have come off the launch pad probably near that hot, because it was surprising how fast we got into this. Shows your stages of atmosphere, so like heavy, lighter, lightest, and then towards here you're basically orbit, you're out of the air. At least we got out of thick atmosphere real fast. So we will do the same thing, but this time we will come off the launch pad a little slower. We'll waste a little bit more fuel, but okay. It's okay.
Rocket in the right direction.
Yeah, it's good when the nose points towards space. It's less good and not what I would call ideal when it does not point towards space. Usually, like, you could save that sometimes, but you waste so much fuel and it's like, it's so stupid. So I usually just restart. That is not enough thrust. That is not an ideal situation. We'll go with it, but it's kind of interesting. Probably there's a meters per second here increase that it's like, and I've watched YouTube videos where they talk about that stuff, but this is what I just don't feel what the problem is. Look out below. So far aerodynamics aren't a problem, and they would have been a problem already in that last launch where we got way too much airspeed.
Yeah, it was stable.
I think NASA starts their gravity turn a lot earlier than I do. Gravity turn. So as we come out of here, I'm going to slow this down because we're going to start. Usually in about halfway through here is where I start my gravity turns. Let's see. We're fighting it a little bit. Yep, and that's already lost. So the other thing probably going on here. Too much thrust is coming from the back. That's a problem, but we can deal with that. Well, we're not going to hit the ground for a really long time, so I don't have to revert. I just want to think about this a little bit. We do not need 8 stages, so I think I need to back the throttle off a lot sooner and lower our airspeed. So. Yeah, NASA would not be super popular if they used my method of getting to space. Okay, so we need a little bit more fuel off the launch, we decided. Always remember to turn SAS on, because if you don't, usually things go poorly. I probably could put those in. This seems like it's a little bit more stable than it used to be in terms of how that happens. It used to be if you put those in the same thing where your engine's fired and then the stabilizers came off, a lot of times crashing the launch pad, it was generally bad.
I'm assuming if you release it before they're told
They go,
yeah.
yeah, that's usually bad too because they often crash into something. So we're going to turn this way down because we have plenty of fuel if we need to speed it up. This is a little different. I don't know what that means. I don't remember that being on the hold.
Is that you're over water versus over land?
Maybe, but we're not. So we have a lot of fuel. Like we're burning fuel very slowly now, which is good. It's just wasteful, but it's not. Oh, also, so my buddy is playing in. What was that all about? Did you see that? Oh, we're losing speed. So see how retrograde is now up? That means we're actually falling and see our rocket trail. So that's bad. We pulled off too much, but we have so much stuff. I'm just gonna keep going and kind of try this out. You have to be. Whoa, that was maybe real dumb. Yeah, I completely blew that. I got the controls reversed in my head for some reason. So we need a little more fuel in the final thing. See, having too much fuel almost creates its own problems and too much thrust, because now we've got this lightweight payload and we have all this thrust, and when you start laying over, then your thrust just goes out of control. But we should be able to do this. It's just kind of getting the hang of flying this thing. So actually, one of the things I like about this, though, is it's physically simulated. So when you're flying it, everything flies different.
But you can make the adjustments because you can. It's physics, like you say.
Yeah.
And
we could go back and fix this too, but I just usually, unless it's real bad, I'm like, I just need to learn to fly it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, you know, NASA might not be that different because they put their astronauts in all kinds of simulations, so they get the hang of that before they launch. I'm sure they blow plenty of stuff up in those. Off the cat. Because we may as well use all this, and then we can slow down, and like we can just cut our airspeed. You know, we'll slow down fast. I just need to keep an eye on this number. Yeah, you can see it's got like a little bit of wiggle, but I wanted to just give it a tiny bit to test and see how like unstable it was getting. But it's feeling kind of okay so far. It's just when you tip over like above a certain point, but you can see those things vector their thrust a little bit. Okay, so see my airspeed was actually reducing. I need to keep it positive. And now it's slow enough that we can start our gravity turn without our ship trying to play over. The other problem with it is a lot of like little tiny changes. This stays kind of stable. I will why is it wanting to do that? That was weird. I don't know what that was all about. I don't understand why it suddenly went the other way, like such a hard swing. Well, I want to see where we got to. Okay, we're not as high as I thought, so we need to probably start our gravity turn later. Why the heck did that freaking thing do that? It kind of irritates me. Mostly because I don't understand. Like, it was laid over this way. Why would it suddenly want to go back unless I reduce the airspeed too much or something? But, well, here we go again. We're learning, though.
Yeah,
this is just a simulator.
Point, yeah.
No Kerbals were harmed in the making of this. Okay. I wonder... I may have, like... I mean, this rock is kind of unwieldy. Like, there's probably too much weight too high.
Add a ballast at the bottom, is that what you'd have to do, or?
Well, sometimes you can mount these a little higher, but I mounted them pretty high. Like some struts would probably help, but it's not like wiggling a bunch. I think it's just partly I'm out of practice with watching all the right indicators at the right times. So we'll start our I think I'm starting a gravity turn. Yeah, I've been starting it towards the end because I think NASA typically starts it earlier. This is all physically different. Like the default of this, you can mod it to be more like Earth gravity and everything, but this is a much smaller planet, I think, with a much smaller atmosphere and So we need to go all the way to this outer thing anyway, so. So now we'll try. Now we have much less weight. This thing should be a lot more stable. And we can hopefully, yeah, now. So now our goal is we really want to start stretching this out, which you'll see as I lay over, it's going to start pushing that out really quickly. And to hit orbit, obviously this blue line has to go all the way around the Earth, and this apoapsis, the paraapsis, has to be roughly equal distance. This is a little bit of an offset orbit that our target is in, but it looks like we've got plenty of fuel. We wasted so much fuel in the launch. Okay, and he is, we could go fast and catch up, or, I mean, he's about halfway around the Earth, so we could go fast and catch up, or we could go slow and let him catch up, but fast is going to be more fuel efficient because we don't have to go into orbit as far. I think it might work out the same, I'm not sure. So if we start laying over, and we don't want to push that this too much higher. So it's at 102. I think anything over about 100,000 is meters is orbit, and it's playing the like you are in orbit music. I mean, not, you're high enough, you're out of the atmosphere. We've got quite a bit of fuel before we even get to our other stage, so if we just burn straight. So it's going to be slowly pulling our prograde towards our thrust direction, and this line will push this line a little faster. Because if you're still pushing when you get to your apoapsis, then you're like starting to crash back down to the Earth, and you don't want that. So sometimes I actually plan this burn if I have the time and figure out exactly what it takes. That's more efficient, but see, like a full burn is increase that much faster, and then now we can start pulling it back. It starts getting a lot more fuel efficient to make these maneuvers once you're out of the atmosphere and going 1,800 meters per second. So see, I could actually turn off and wait until closer and do one final burn to pull that orbit just right, but barely burning anyway. It's
Take the quicker route.
Yeah, let's actually do that though. So if we do a maneuver right here, then we want our apoapsis to be about the same as that. So basically that's saying we need a 4-second burn with max engines in 49 seconds. So see, that's going to be a lot more efficient to wait a little bit and then just burn hard. So we basically just need to maneuver that blue thing on the nav ball as our burn target, which is right because it's basically we're burning almost pure prograde. The bounce on the nav ball is just the rocket reacting as you use. We're using stabilizer wheels, not RCS, which are a little bit more wonky, but they use almost no effort.
Oh.
So 15, 14, 13, 7, 10. And then we'll burn basically till this green meter is down, and this blue line should expand. Go ahead and get it throttled. So there we go. So that's a burn, and we're in orbit, and our apoapsis should be, we can set him as our target. So our apoapsis is pretty close to his parapsis. So basically, we need to catch up with him a little bit first, and then we'll need to burn right here, which will extend this blue line out to match his orbit, and we just need to get close to his orbit. So basically now we time warp. And we have lots of electrical charge, we have lots of monopropellant, and we have quite a bit of liquid fuel even in our main stage. We haven't even gotten to our regular stage yet. So we'll probably go about as... And we were a little less than halfway around, so it's actually going to take us a little bit longer to catch up with him, but hang in there, little guy. He's been 33 hours, I think, or I don't know if that's
okay.
in space, but let me just make sure that, okay, that kills the warp. Cool. So we're gonna crank up this warp and catch up. And I can't. So I like to get orbits outside of 120,000 meters because then you can warp at the fastest speed. But sometimes it gets wonky when you warp that fast anyway. So we're catching up with them kind of slow because our orbits are not a huge distance apart, and we had to launch on the other side of the world. I don't know why it wouldn't let us.
And it might have. It may just be a different control.
Yeah, maybe, but it wouldn't let me turn it up with the keyboard or with the key command, so I don't know. What's our current orbit? We're at 111,000 there, and it's hard to tell which. These are so close to each other.
Mm.
We are slowly catching up with him, but so we could increase our orbit by 10,000 meters, but that would slow us down, but we could warp faster, but it doesn't really matter. Oh, I can, what's the gray, oh, the gray line is the space station. So we're slowly catching up. It's a really, really slow NASCAR. We're going, so we're going to have to, right now the difference in speed between us and the target is about 3,000 meters per second. So once we start getting close, obviously that has to be brought about to zero. Because if you hit an astronaut at 3,000 meters per second, he's going to be turbo paced.
You make contact. There won't be any reason to make contact.
Yeah. Well, you'll have made contact. It's just there will be bits of Kerbal all over space. Yeah, so basically what we'll do is we'll do a maneuver here when we get close, and we'll burn and see that that'll take us, you know, pretty close. Yeah. Oops. If I can delete this maneuver. Yes, too bad. Oh, we went 100. It let us go to 100 right there. Oh, but then it just stopped us back down to 50. So this must be, oh yeah, because it's 138. Well, we could do a small burn right here the next time. Actually, we probably should do a burn. We probably should plan a burn. Oops. So I'm going to take us back down to 0 warp, and we'll do a burn to get us. We don't want to be all the way there yet because we still have some catching up to do, but we want to get a lot closer than we are. Because our distance is getting pretty narrow. We won't. Oops, what am I looking at? Oh, jeez. These things are a little squirrely. Like, that's probably close enough. So that's a 0.7 second burn.
Pretty quick burn.
Yeah, And we can just do warp here. Give ourselves a little bit of time to orient to face our target. And now that we're back to 0 warp. So like at this point I usually don't even fly, but I see the wiggle. That has a little bit of wiggle. And most of that's coming from the reaction wheel, and this like nozzle just, see, it kind of is like wiggly. We basically need to face that target. We're maintaining a good charge here. You can tell when the reaction wheels fire by the electrical charge.
Gotcha.
So wait a minute. I may have screwed up big. This lander can, I don't know how many people the lander can holds. I meant to launch without a pilot. That was
so she's actually in the...
She's in the lander can. We were supposed to be flying from the,
control.
well, he'll hang on to the outside for re-entry.
Might get a little warm, but...
Yeah. Or, oh, I should have put a dock on this. We could get close to the space station and
drop her off.
Drop him or her back off at the space station. Because we'll be in about the same orbit anyway.
That's true.
3 seconds, so better start burning. Okay, that should have gotten us pretty close. That's close enough. So now we can turn our warp back up. And the last bit's going to be touch and go because we're not catching up quite as fast as I thought. As soon as we do this, now let's see if we add another maneuver right here to take us right to his orbit. We'll still be 106 kilometers. It's way too far. So we need to get closer. So let's cancel that. I mean, we can burn here, it's just, it gets, it's easiest to burn at your apoapsis because here you have to burn a little wonky. Okay, so actually if I burn here, that'll bring us 18 kilometers. Like, that's getting close. Because once we get...
Then you go into sight, do it by sight.
9 kilometers. Once we get that separation distance really close, like the orbit is perfect here, so then we just burn here to correct the rest of the orbit. Let's just make sure we're really good in terms of the, I don't know what that's called, but the offset, like, okay, so we gotta burn, and it's coming up in 53 seconds, so we better get this thing and turn on RCS. That'll get us like moving a lot faster. It just burns some pellet. Okay, so that put our closest intersect at 7.6 kilometers, which is really getting pretty good. So now we'll add another maneuver and we'll pull this out a little bit and get 8.5, 9.2. So where's our kilometers. We want to be really ideally within like 2. 9, that's still 9. So getting us closer further. 9.7, 10.2. 8.5, that's the direction we want to go. 6.3. 5 kilometers. Like at that point we're getting pretty good. Like 4 kilometers, like that's a really close. It's probably gonna, ooh, 2.8. Okay, let's stop there because I can't burn much more precisely than that with this big freaking engine anyway. But since I have fuel, I'm just gonna keep using this basically until we run out, because if we could pick him up or get close to picking him up with the big rocket attached and then do our close-in maneuvers with the smaller one, and then we just have to do our, if we like catch him around here and do a retro burn, we can probably bring this thing in right here. That is if I have crew space, and I cannot remember how to check that. We got 17 minutes before the burn, so I can kind of look around and see if I can figure this out here. Crew report. 1 of 1. Let's just see. MK1 lander cam. Housing 1 Kerbal crew member. Dang it. So that was stupid because this thing cannot actually hold our astronaut. But how do I close this crew report? Reset. Sure. Okay, you can see our little guy out there, 32 kilometers away. Oh, the other thing I forgot, lights. Lights are so handy to have to be able to spot what you're doing. But I think it'll be funny to have him just grab on. He'll just be hanging onto the outside for dear life as we tractor over to the space station, and then we'll just get him real close. He should be able to refill on monopropellant if he's grabbing on, and then he can just buzz back over to the space station, which will be hilarious. Okay, so we got 16 minutes, so we can warp close here. I mean, this mission's going pretty well just in that we've gotten this close to him. We're outpacing him a little bit by the time we get to our maneuver, but this little arrow shows you where your target is in the turn so you can spin the sucker around a little faster. This is another 0.3-second burn. After we do this correction, I'll probably drop the main. Seconds to burn. I'll probably do this one a little bit more precise. The other ones I fired up the engines a little faster, but this one I will get it more precise, and then we'll be really close right here. So this is going to be kind of our target point to pick him up. But 3, 2, 1. 10.1 milliseconds. So that's pretty good. So we are going to be 2.9 kilometers away, but if I do a burn right here, that actually takes us further away there, but we start getting, our overall orbit gets really close, so if we screw something up, we don't start drifting apart. Because see, that's going to bring us 0.9 kilometers, so we actually want to do that. This is going, it's going to put us a little further away here, but our orbits are almost going to be perfect. So, and actually for this, you know what, I'm going to cancel this burn, and we're going to go separate these stacks. Let's really hope we did that right. Yeah, I think we're good. So, now we can plan our burn with our actual engines. So 22, 5.9. It really irritates me how these like nodes, like the distance between like a very soft movement and a like really aggressive one is like really tiny. Okay, so we got a small burn here. It's a 0.3 second burn again. Let's go ahead and make sure that's drifted away far enough that we're not going to hit it. Line up. Now that we've dropped that, see how much easier it is to spin this thing around. It's so much more stable, so it'll be a lot easier to maneuver. I can't believe I put a freaking autopilot on this thing. A lander can. I totally forgot it automatically puts a pilot in there, and then I'm like, oh cool, it's Valentina. I didn't even choose a pilot, and then we like get into space, and I'm like, oh, now we don't have room for another passenger. That was so stupid.
Just details.
Okay, now why is it showing our stage view? No. Oh, I think I need to... Yep. Okay, so now our engine is prepped. So all we need to do is warp closer. And our separation speed now is really close, which is good. So I'm going to do just a... Okay. I want to make sure that this is accurate. Sometimes when you swap stages, it gets screwed up and it tells you the burn time for the big engine that you already dropped, and then you go to burn and it's like, oh, this is a 30-second burn and you just started with a second to go. So, yeah, I always like to just double check that. That shouldn't have affected our separation distance more than like a decimal point, so... Us. Okay, so we'll be 3 kilometers apart, and here we're 4 kilometers apart. So now we don't necessarily have to wait till our closest point. We can start doing maneuvers, and this is where I kind of go by sight. So we've got our target, and this shows our target's prograde and retrograde. So basically, there's our target. So we want to probably burn, and if you look at the orbit map while you do this, it like gets scary because it looks like you're like really screwing stuff up. But hey, we're recording. What's up? This silly mission.
Oh, when you come to a stopping point, can you do that?
Yeah, you're on video. So, see, now we're coasting in closer, but our orbit looks way off. That's okay, because we're going to keep, like, coasting in, and then as we get a little closer, then, like, if our orbit's getting too wonky, we'll just speed it up. Oops. We ultimately want our progrades and retrogrades to align, because then we're perfectly... in alignment. So I'm gonna burn off some of the speed distance here, or the bring this closer to 0, and then we'll drift in slowly closer as long as. Okay, let's check our. See, our orbits now are pretty close. Yeah, and I kind of just do this little dance of like closing the distance and then double checking our orbit and then closing the distance. I don't know how, like, this is just what I found that works for me. I don't know exactly how they do this. I imagine they plan a burn a little better, and they figure out the exact like trajectory. I just use the progrades and retrogrades, but see, like if I look at, you know, our orbits, like it doesn't take much before they start looking really weird.
But you're getting closer to your target.
Yeah, and actually I think what I do as I get closer is I burn the opposite side of this, and that brings these closer. Yeah. But see, I don't like getting, because now we're closing a little too fast, so I'll swap sides here. And then on this, you burn, I think, the opposite of this. We'll push it. I'm going to burn this way just to be safe. Burn off some of that closing, or some of that difference. Now let's look at our orbits. They're close. Now I need to do something a little different. I need to... seems like I should be burning on this side of it. You know? That's what it feels like. That's actually closing. I can't tell if I'm getting... is that number going up or down?
It's going up now.
Okay. So, let's try this. Okay. I think this is what we want now. See, these are coming together. Okay, now we're closing way too fast.
Yeah.
Oh no. So we need to turn that speed up quick. Okay. Now, shoot. That's too aggressive. Now, which way is he going? So, we're not. So the numbers actually are not going up that fast now. I think what we need to do is burn on this side. Nope. See, and this is what happens when you play for a while. Forget. Is that going up faster or slower? So that's going up. So we need to do the opposite. We need to burn. Oops. I'm gonna actually turn this off.
Can you bring him? You can't bring him to the ship. Can you?
Well, in theory, yeah. So he's got plenty of monopropellant, but okay. So this is what we want to do. Okay.
Right there, we're looking good.
Yeah. Yeah, this is not, it's scary when you see that number suddenly like swap and start going further away, but now we're like doing a little bit more of a controlled closing with him. I think it's gonna be so funny to try to grab him with the claw. I'm totally doing that. Okay. Let's see, I think we want to burn on this side of this. Push that back a little bit, and we want to... So that number is going to count down real slow, and while it's doing that, we can use time warp. But I like keeping that number real small. I'm going to run upstairs and move north real quick. Okay. doing?
Good. Yeah, it's all looking real good.
Okay, so we're closing. Everything is, we can do just a little bit of burning. Push this. Now see our orbits are indistinguishable. So we're closing really slow, but that's okay. It'd be really nice to have some lights. Now we can speed up our warp. And then what I do is just do little burns. And now that's going to take us down to such a low speed. Now on this one, you burn on the opposite side of it, so just a little tiny burn. And this is a very powerful engine for how small of a craft this is, so
Doesn't take much at all.
doesn't take much. And I think the astronauts should be able to sustain anything under like a meter per second. They should be fine. They could probably take a lot more than that, because I've actually wrecked a plane and had them go sliding out across the ground and they survived. So I think he can survive. Let's, come on, stay. I don't know why my rocket is trying to. Okay, now we can go into docking mode. And I cannot remember any of these keys, so I do have to look that up. Docking mode. Okay, this is where it gets crazy, because you have WASD is your pitch adjustments. W and S are your pitch adjustments. A and D are your yaw adjustments. Q and E are your rolls. Left shift and controller. Oh, they've improved this. It used to be like J and K and like all these other controls, and it was like this weird little dance you had to do. So if this works, okay, cool. Now we can use our monopropellant to slowly like do little speed boosts like this.
Okay.
And when we get close, see that? Like we can adjust this nav ball real precise.
Okay.
So see, we're approaching a little fast, but we can slow down just with little puffs now that we're going this small. Just do a little control practice here. Okay, now prepare the claw. Arm. And control from here. So he's on us, like, but I can't see anything because, oh shoot, we're so close, but, okay, so now these orient, it's really hard to tell where the target is from here. Okay, that,
Right there.
I know, but he's not, so,
Drift on a little. There we go.
man, why couldn't we be at daylight? So he's going,
There you are. Now
Yeah.
drifting in.
oh man, if I could, boy, all your controls are backwards though. You have to kind of go, yeah, move towards him a little bit. We're gonna grab him with the claw. I want to save real quick just in case that kills him. Grab
I think
Jeb.
that sounds like a good plan. picking up rice with chopsticks.
Not even the sticky kind. Okay.
Got him.
No, I didn't. I don't know. I think it kind of did.
I was saying it's a meter out.
Yeah. Okay. One thing we can do. We can switch to him.
Oh, and he'd come to us.
Yeah. That's kind of cheating because I don't know if Jason can do that, but I want to see if he can just grab it. Oh, what was that?
Well, then we're getting all ways away.
Yeah, that's stupid. Why is that? That's all compounding. That was stupid. It like did the I'm gonna reload because that was stupid. The collision basically
just really propelled him away.
yeah, like shoved him away super aggressively, which was dumb because or his like RCS like suddenly kicked on. But either way, that was okay. What's going on? Okay, so we need to back up a little bit. Oh, what the heck? Oh my gosh, it took us out of freaking docking mode. Urgh. Super irritating. I'm like, why is the RCS all seeming to work different now? Well, that's because it
No longer docking mode.
okay. So we don't want him any closer. So like everything's backwards.
Yeah. Four meters. Right there. It's coming right together.
Yeah, it's like
you're right there. How long is the grab?
Not long. Like, I mean, you saw it, what happened before. I don't think it really is designed to grab astronauts.
Probably not.
Differently, so I can't use a single jet.
Okay.
There we go. So each jet was basically complicating the process. So ridiculous. Well, that was not far enough.
2 meters. His arms look longer than 2 meters.
I know. See, I don't think it grabs him. That sucks. But in theory, he should be able to grab on. The only problem is when I go to him, it like boots him far away because it kicks on his RCS.
Can you open it again and just see if you can get to that 0 point?
Yeah, it's a little easier now to control. And like, how much closer do you want me to be?
He's sitting right on top of it.
His RCS just kicked on because we touched it. What was that? Oh, status locked. I got him. He's freaking attached. So I wonder if it shows us as a single unit now. I think it does.
There you are.
You can grab an astronaut with the gravity guard. That is hilarious. All right, well,
kick him away.
We're gonna save.
That's a heck of a ride.
Yeah. Prepare to be moved to the space station at the end of a rocket. Now I wonder if I can transfer monopropellant to him. We'll check that. Okay, Jeb, transport Jeb. How long have we been recording? Hour and 18 minutes. Okay, so now we have to do exactly what we did for Jeb, but we have to grab the station. And actually we're in a pretty good spot because our orbit here is pretty close. We basically just need to undo what Jeb did, which is not a lot of like change. So we need that to catch up with us. We're already in a great orbit, so I need to set this as target. And basically we can just... The one thing I'm not sure of is if warping while holding a passenger will work out for us. But he can't come inside, so that's how it's going to have to be, Jeb. There's not room.
It's going to be a little rough out there for a minute.
I mean, there's no atmosphere, so don't be a baby, Jeb. Oh yeah, this is going to be great. So we should probably plan a burn here to bring, actually we want to do it right here. And we're going to want to burn retrograde and pull that in closer. Lose the elliptical part of our orbit. 1 second burn. It's easier to just do like a warp here. Okay, so we're not, we need to turn off RCS. Make sure we didn't lose Jeb. You still there, buddy?
Yeah, he's hanging on.
You don't look right, Jeb. Something looks wrong. He's alive, though. The physics are a little wonky, but he is alive. Countdown time. Oh, we're not in docking mode, right? Yeah, we're in staging mode. Okay. 10. It's close enough. We don't want to be too close yet because we still have some
to catch up, or
Yeah.
let him catch up anyway.
It happens pretty slow when your orbits are this close. Okay, so we're going to plan a maneuver here to bring one side of this right down to it. 66 kilometers is not bad. Since our orbit is still longer, they'll still catch up a little bit. Yeah, this is gonna be perfect. Okay, we need to. Still there, Jeb? Hey, buddy. This has been a rocky mission. I've definitely run cleaner missions than this, but I have not played this for some time, so. But if we're being honest, I never really scienced it out. It was always more of a throw fuel at the problem. Okay, so we're good there. Now we just need to, on this side, plan another maneuver where we, pull this in, and, jeez, that's so annoying. Like, I wish there was a finer control mechanism. See, like, sometimes you can get it to, like, it's just insane. Like, why is it so wonky? Because I'm pretty sure they cross right here, but I cannot get it to freaking just line up. No, they don't cross. So let's just see if any of these bring it a little closer. First of all, let's make sure we're really good there. So, it doesn't look like we're separated that much. I wonder why. I mean, I could. Just waste a lot more fuel, but it might get us. Separation 42. And 12. That's real good. So we can do this maneuver. It's a little bit of a waste of fuel, but it's only a 1 second burn. Let's see how close we can get those. 10. Separation 0 kilometers. Yeah, that's as close.
That's about as close
as it gets. So, and we'll have to do probably another burn somewhere in here to like pull our orbit out here in a little tighter, but. Okay, so now we just need to. Perfect, 2.1 kilometer separation. That is fantastic. And that's going to bring in this to 73 kilometers. A4, let's see. It's going to bring it a little closer, 62, 57. So we're having to do some like not real efficient adjustments, but still. That'll have us 46 on this side and 2.1 on this side. 48. this near perfect 17. That's going to be real good. So that's going to have us really close on both sides. So we'll have a lot of opportunity to coast him in real close and then spit him out. Or, I mean, he could maybe climb aboard. I don't know. We're going to have to release him. But I wonder if we can transfer fuel to him. So while we're waiting to do that, let's see if we can transfer fuel. You know, this would have been a much better place to do this docking with like lots of bright background. But
Hey, it worked.
EVA propellant. I wonder. Remove helmet. That would not be ideal. So you can't transfer. I can't remember how to transfer fuel. So it doesn't really, I don't know that you can transfer without them actually getting into the, it would be kind of hilarious to try to bring him down like this, but this part blows off. Well, I mean, we could disable it and then deploy parachutes with him stuck in the clamp, which would be hilarious. I mean, I feel like we should save it, just try that for the joy.
Option, yeah.
Yeah. So let's call this one Jeb's Hard Landing. We're going to disable this. We want to decouple. Oh, we can do this. We'll just move this one. So we're going to float face down, so he would probably be impaled. But as long as we land in the water, what could go wrong? Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to do atmospheric reentry. We'll do it butt first, so he's shielded by the craft. If I decouple or disengage this, it's going to let him go. But it would be cool if we could suck him in and hold that housing around him, but that's not going to happen. Okay, so we saved, right? So let's go ahead and where is our space center? So we're going to kill this burn. And instead of doing that, we're going to add a burn. We'll kind of see. So basically burn. And we want to come down fairly steep angle. So that'll put us in the water. That's a 5-second burn is all it takes to get out of orbit. And we want to overshoot a little because we can always burn as we're coming in and bleed off speed, but you can't add it very easily. So we're going to do this cowboy style. Forget the space station docking nonsense. We're going to come in hot with the guy stuck in a clamp. The literal opposite of science. Okay, 21 minutes of that burn. Alright, here we go, buddy. He's like, no, the space station is so close.
Right
Just spit me out here, I'll take my chances.
Right.
No, sir, we gotta bring you back to Earth. Okie dokie. Get ready for some fun.
It's a water
Whoa,
landing. Forget
wait,
that it's
what just
like-
happened? Now that's shorter. Why is that shorter? See that?
Yeah. We're on the wrong side of the continent.
Yeah, or I like accidentally dragged something the wrong way. But all we had to do is move that around a little bit. Well, I'm gonna kind of keep an eye on this because that was...
Yeah, that was a substantial shift.
the other side of the continent.
Right.
No big deal. Just scramble some jets for poor Jeb. Water's cold at the bottom of that clamp. Alright. No going back now, buddy. We're about to execute a burn. Hold on, because this is going to be a major shift in...
Pretty substantial burn, 4-second burn.
Yeah. So, we still got Jeb on the clamp? Hey, buddy!
Hey, if you could handle that, you can handle anything.
Yeah, that's a... It's a backbreaking. Okay, we're going to basically keep pointed towards prograde here. And so, let me just make sure this is good. We'll pop this. That'll drop all this other stuff off.
Right.
Then we have 2 parachutes. When those things pop, they'll pop out this way, but then this whole thing will probably spin with
Swing
him
down,
down because
yeah.
this was intended to blow off here and leave it bottom heavy on this side, but now it'll be bottom heavy on this side, and Jeb will get a very first person view of the descent. This is gonna be hilarious. Okay, so we got quite a ways. I want to keep the view on this so we can kind of see what's going on with the atmospheric reentry. Heat shielding is for sissies.
Yeah. You'll probably want to thaw out a little hanging around in space this
Yeah,
long
that suit's got to be
anyway.
cold, right?
I would think so.
Doing you a favor, Jeb. Besides, these suits are over-engineered anyway.
That's right. For exactly this reason.
Just in case we need a no cockpit reentry. Basically, I just want to keep the nozzle oriented towards the retrograde because that's going to, so we're not even close to the atmosphere yet. Be a sissy Jeb. It's going to be fine. Oh, so we can't, where's our, oh, that's prograde, that's why. Like, that seems like we'd be accelerating. So where's our space station? It's got to be like right here somewhere, like right there.
Should be.
Where's my,
Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's all right there.
I'm struggling to find my retrograde here. Here we go. Okay, we're not even into
Yeah, we're a little
atmosphere
high.
yet, but actually that'll bring us down a lot faster. It seems like we're high, but oh, this isn't the right continent. We got to cross a whole nother ocean.
Okay.
But look at that.
It's still drifting back.
Yeah, that's weird. Well, we can fix that. just up our airspeed.
Yeah, well, come in a little hotter
So,
for
Jeb.
Jeb's sake.
Okay, we're into. Ooh, better turn around, buddy.
We have one flight.
How's it going out there, buddy?
It's not cold anymore.
Oh, he's gone.
It's gone.
We lose Jeb?
No,
He's gone, isn't he?
no, I think
he's gone.
I
Yeah,
think he's gone.
Jeb is down.
Where's Jeb?
Where's Jeb? And also, this is not rated for re-entry like this, apparently. Overheat.
Valentina's getting a little warmer, so
Ooh, our parachutes might burn up. Slow down faster, she can take a few more G's. We're not going to make that continent by a long shot. I'm kind of curious if it's going to show Jeb. Nope. So he must have died. Well, I don't want the... it won't hurt anything to let this go. Yeah. So, actually, we can pull this back down into here now.
and just dump it as well.
Yeah. And... Whoa!
Bye, Valentina.
Yeah, hang on. Yeah, that's weird. I wonder, well, whatever. Everybody's dead,
I wonder
basically.
if it's because
It was, even though it stuck a pilot in the lander can, it was controlling from the remote control, which was part of this thing that I ejected. So, the remote control is here, but she is...
in there.
Yeah. And if I could switch that... So I never even got to deploy the parachutes. Actually, I'm going to try something real quick. Switch to the tracking station. See if I can switch to this other flight in progress. Time is passing very quickly. Nope, she doesn't show up as a flight.
Oh,
So, that sucks. Okay, well, we go back to our previous plan.
yeah, maybe the space station's the better option.
Yeah, I don't even know if Valentina can get back to Earth safely.
Yeah.
I should have put a dock on here. I usually put a dock on everything just on principle. Okay, so we need to replan our... Oh, no, it saved our maneuver. Okay, cool. Wait, did it? That was 2-2 there and 17 there. Yeah, so it saved our maneuver. So we'll proceed with our original plan. Whew. This mission has been fraught with peril. Okay, so we'll warp somewhere in here.
The beauty of time warp.
Yeah, this game would be real boring if there was a time warp. Especially when you're going to like the moon, it's like, oh, I'm gonna leave that. Yeah, it reminds me, when I was in college, my roommate was really into Flight Simulator.
Oh, man.
And he liked to do everything in real time. I don't even know if it had a time compression. So he liked to take off from like San Francisco and fly to New York. So like 5-hour flight.
No.
Yeah, and we only had one computer. It was his computer, but like I used it quite a bit for school stuff. So he would get all excited on like a Friday night, like, oh, I'm gonna fly to like San Francisco or whatever. And he would start up and I'm like, oh, 6 hours before I can do any homework. Okay, we're oriented, we're 15 seconds to burn. And a 1 second burn. on that side and 2.3 on this side, and we can probably do a little maneuver right here. Yeah, honestly, I'd rather do this visually because...
Yeah, that's close enough.
Yeah, man, it would be a lot easier with lights. Okay, so that is currently getting... Is that number getting bigger or smaller?
It's not changing yet. There, it's
Okay.
getting smaller.
So we are closing distance because we have and we actually probably want to orient this way because that's going to bring and then to kill our airspeed. Now I'm kind of remembering how I do this. You don't burn directly at one or the other. On this side we burn opposite. Is that pushing this? Yes. So that is pushing us and slowing our airspeed. Which probably really... Actually, it's not messing up our orbit much. So that's going to push... See, we want these to perfectly align because that means our orbits are dead on.
Right.
So we're still closing distance, but now at a safer rate. This is the right way to do it, because like, see, if I had done that last time, we would have been aligned so much more quickly with our target and had to do less of a dance.
But it still worked.
It still worked, it's just sloppy. Like, I haven't played this in so long that I had kind of forgotten the exact details of how you do this here. Okay, now we actually need to burn off some of the speed. But now we're dead on our orbits. So when I burn down to like a few meters per second, if we look at this, our orbits should be
Just dead on.
yeah, and that's why you can do it visually just using your nav ball if you remember kind of which side you have to burn on, because it's the opposite. On one side you have to burn on the opposite side of the target, and then the other side you have to burn
Same side.
yeah,
Just
same side.
opposite.
Yeah, so it's okay. We're gonna let's time warp here just a little bit and let this burn off, and then probably use docking controls from here.
So how fast can you come into dock?
Like 4.5 meters per second is not terrible because you can burn that off with your RCS pretty quick. Oh, I don't have RCS on. So see, I'm just getting these aligned. Kind of comes down to how long you want to wait for stuff, you know, but it's almost always better to take it slow and come in with low speed. But like you can burn down this speed. You can turn it up or down. Each pulse is about 1/10 of a meter per second.
Okay.
So
Yeah, you make changes pretty good.
yeah. Perfectly now. This is my little space station.
Oh, Jeb, you wondered if
Honestly.
you were ever going to see it before.
Yeah.
Didn't you?
This has been quite a ride, huh, Jeb? Multiple trips around the Earth. In a spacesuit, longest spacewalk ever. Set some kind of Guinness Book of World Records here.
It's
Yeah.
all been a day.
Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, we're like going incredibly slow. Now, if I had a dock, it would be super easy to transfer crew. We don't have a dock, so we have a ragdoll guy on the end of here. But I feel like we could probably, like, realistically, we should be able to release him. He should be able to spacewalk back.
Right.
So we want to close this to 0. Get to where we're just slightly separating. Then disarm the clamp. So I think ultimately this would be impossible with no monopropellant. I don't think this game gives you a tool to...
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, so now I'm switching to Jeb. I think there's a way to switch dynamically, but Jeb can set this.
That's his target.
Yeah.
Now the next trick is to save your pilot.
Oh, oh. So I love how the controls for the suit are not the same as the controls for a dock, and I don't understand why that decision was made, but
We made contact.
okay. Now, how do I board? B. Boom. He is back. I don't think it can be done without monopropellant, but Jebediah Kermit is back. Okay, now... I thought there was a way to switch flights, but apparently not, so we'll just go... So, we booted him out of the airlock, we created a mission, we went up, matched his stuff, we grabbed him with the clamp, dropped him off within like meters of the station. I think if you tried to get any closer, you'd end up like squishing him or whatever. And the main thing it's missing is the ability to transfer monopropellant through the clamp, because if you could do that, then then you could refill him, you know.
Exactly.
So the fact that like Jason's whole scenario where he had a guy like lost in space with no monopropellant,
yeah, there's no way to redeem
I don't know if it's
him.
recoverable unless there's some like way, like some arm or something that I don't know about. Like that could very well exist in the game now, but it did not. It did not when I last played. Okay, so we will just do the same thing we did last time, but we're gonna make some changes here. So basically, we want to add a maneuver to burn down pretty aggressively. We'll plan on overshooting that continent by quite a bit.
It seems to taper off.
Yeah. And we can always, it's easy because we're going to keep tail towards where we're entering. So unless the engine overheats and blows up, we should be able to burn. Turn off RCS. Okay, now let's see what we can do about the, this is a 12-second burn. This is a pretty
Pretty
deal.
substantial.
Why is that? Why would that be a 12-second burn when before? I guess because we're doing it so much more aggressively. But that's going to subject us, that's going to slow us down more before we enter the atmosphere, which is going to keep heat lower. So the other question is, why can I not
Change the separations to keep it together.
Yeah, there's a way. Control from here. Okay. Okay. Remove slot, I don't know what that does. The main thing is I don't want... I mean, one thing we could do is we could deploy the parachutes before we blow off the other parts, then no matter what, she is going to parachute, but this coming off could destroy the parachute, so we could do it all together. So why don't we just save right here and we can see what happens. So let us warp to our burn area. And I am going to do the burn in this view. We'll start burning in about 6 seconds and we'll just kind of watch and make sure this maneuver doesn't get wonky. I have a feeling it doesn't compensate for the drag when it's doing the maneuver planning. So the air drag may...
That's what's pulling them back.
Okay,
It's
so...
on.
Yeah, that was pretty close. So prepare yourself for re-entry. We need to turn so that we are facing our retrograde, which I thought was somewhere in this direction, but apparently is not. Because of retrograde. Okay. Call it normal and anti-normal. Oh, here we go. Orbit. We are still on target view, so yeah, that's our retrograde. So that should have us nozzle first. Yep. In the direction we're going, so let's warp in. We need to this is us. Okay, we're over the ocean, so the next continent that we cross, this is our continent. It's kind of sad when you have to like visually spot stuff at the continent level. We definitely want to keep this stuff on as long as possible to shield this, because this is meant for non-atmospheric landings. Yeah. The thing is I want to use this hitchhiker canister thing it's called, but it only fits on much bigger rockets. There's not a multi-crew option that has this size of connector on the end.
Let's see.
Really, I think there's a cupola thing you could maybe use, but we're still well out of the atmosphere.
Comes down pretty fast.
Yeah, it's gonna happen quick. We can't go faster than 2x, or whatever this is, 5x warp, 2x warp. Now, I bet, no, it feels like that should be shortening, but it's really hard to spot visually how far you are off the ground. Like when I do lunar landings, I've actually never done an Earth landing rocket down, which would be interesting to try to actually land, you know, like SpaceX style.
Yeah.
I've done parachutes, but okay. So I don't want to necessarily burn yet. We're still pretty on target.
You've got some room to work with.
Yeah, I'm going to start burning to just slow us down. definitely don't want to land on land. So
Correct. Pretty hot.
it's hot. She's looking a little nervous.
Parachutes are getting a little warm.
Yeah, they are warm, but they haven't blown off, and they didn't. I would think if they were in the last one, like if they were going to, they would have been in the last one. Yeah, it looks like we're definitely going to land in the ocean at this point. Okay, our airspeed has slowed down enough. I'm going to go ahead and kill the engines, and this puts us onto our second stage. And if I try to do control from here, in theory that should be I don't know. Okay, so one thing we can do is burn off a little speed just as a safety net. Oh, we shouldn't even be able to use our engine. Okay, here goes parachutes and stuff. Hey, nothing blew up. That's a positive sign. And we have control from here. So
She should be a
she's
lot
gonna
happier
land
camper.
really freaking close to the space station. Like, we're coming in only 5 kilometers. Oh, that's from the debris that we left. Probably blew up a bit on the launch pad. No big deal. Our parachute. So we're coming in at 67 meters per second. I don't really know what's safe.
Pretty fast,
That seems real fast.
but it's backing off.
Yeah, and we have 2,000, 3,000 feet to fall, or meters. But it should back off more than that. That was one reason I wanted to kill our airspeed a little bit with the rocket, but maybe we should have waited. This is pretty cool that we landed like on the whole Earth this close to
exactly.
the station. Like, we're just off the coast.
And it didn't even take a whole lot of extra.
But that is because, oh, there we go. There we go. Look at that. So they must just be designed to deploy fully out. Look at that.
That's cool.
Nice. 2.8 meters per second
Yeah,
seems a
you're
lot
good
safer.
now. Won't make near as big a splash.
Assuming this thing floats. Now, the question is, how high of a dive has the highest person ever jumped? Can we execute an 800-meter dive? How do you feel about that, Valentina?
Your name go down in history one way or the other.
Yeah. Okay, we can time warp. Oh, okay. It just warns us about physics warping. I keep getting instant messages. I'm gonna check that real quick. 700 meters to bottom. Some code I have to write at some point tonight. Does it feel like we're drifting towards the coast? I can't tell what's just the water movement and what's the...
Yeah, I thought we were, but I think we're okay. I don't think that it's... I don't think we're in...
Yeah, I think it's just the
danger.
illusion of the water
Yeah.
moving below it. So, I mean, we definitely had some missteps, but all things considered, I feel like we're going to end up with 2 living astronauts, which was the ultimate goal. A lot of wasted fuel, probably a bit of landing pad destruction from our low stage drops, and a few save file reloads. Some of those I feel like were the game working against us a little bit, but I wonder what that line is. We're probably, I don't know, that's weird. I'm afraid using too much time warp is gonna screw it up this close to the surface, and with like physics warping too, bad stuff can happen. But we'll pull down our time warp, count down the last meters to the water. I've put so many hours into this stupid game. It's addictive, like planning these like hard missions. Oh, look at that. It looked like a, yeah, it does. So, how do I, oh, now it's, I think, gonna give me the option to recover. I don't know. Normally, it used to give you the option to like recover the flight. Resume flight. I don't know where the for action group. That's not what we want. Everybody's alive. Let's go to our tracking station and see if we can splash down at Kerbin. Okay, now recover. There we go. Haha, ready for next assignment. Nice. Well, I'm going to call that a success. We have, we booted him out of the airlock. We got him back. He's back on the space station. It was pretty hacky, grabbing him with the clamp, but it worked. And Valentina's back. Let's go look at our little astronaut bay. It's here. Funny, she's available for the next mission. I'm gonna have to accept some more applicants if I'm gonna leave those 3 pilots in space. All right. Jeb saved. And with that, I'm gonna end this recording.